December 2000. Type Moon released a beloved visual novel Tsukihime, centered around a boy named Tono Shiki. Someone who at a young age was involved in an accident and as a result had gained a mystic ability. 8 years later, within his town, a series of murders takes place. On his way back from school, notices a strange woman, and with a single glance, his primal instincts possess him, leading him to murder her in cold blood. Yet, the very next day, sees her waiting for him. That woman's name is Arkwade Brunstad, a vampire, on the hunt for another vampire responsible for the murders. At her request, Shiki joins up with Arkwade in order to put a stop to this rampant murder spree. Containing 5 rounds, the visual novel was a success, leading to the release of Tsukihime Plus disc in January 2001, a small edition featuring 3 short stories surrounding the cast of Tsukihime, and with it was a piece of information on the scrapped 6th route, belonging to one of Shiki's classmates, Yumizuka Satsuki. In August of that year was the release of Kagetsu Toya, a sequel having an expansive and confusing storyline as well as the introduction of new characters. Then in December 2002, Type Moon joined up with developer French Bread to make a visual novel fighting game hybrid, Melty Blood. A little while after its release became widely renowned, taking the spot as one of the best doujin 2D fighting games to be released. Taking place 1 year after the events of Satsuki's scrapped route, rumors of another case of serial murders comes to Misaki Town. While Shiki tries to find the root to the town's hearsay, runs into Shion Eltonam Atalasia, a high-ranking alchemist of Atlas. After a brief interaction, decide to team up to help fulfill each other's objectives. The story within this game follows a route system, but instead of picking choices in dialogue, the results of each match decides the flow of the story. Winning a match leads you closer to the true end, while losing leads the plot to be a lot more zany. Although, the true end is locked until each route before it is completed. I'll go over the major events in the story, so if you plan to experience it, you can find downloads and an English patch online. There's also a playthrough on YouTube and a manga adaptation. Links to both of them will be in the description. Zepia Eltonam Oberon, a member of a prestigious noble family and a part of the Atlas Institute. A group of alchemists that became aware of humanity's inevitable demise. Falling into insanity by this future, became fixated on creating a new path for the world to go down. In doing so, he broke vital rules of Atlas and became a dead apostle, tainting the name of Eltonam. The form he took is much less of a being than it is a phenomenon. Known as Tatari or Knight of Wallachia, he seeks immortality to veer humanity off their tragic destination. Out of the 27 dead apostle ancestors, he's a peculiar type, only able to manifest once 4 conditions are met. 1. A rumor must start within a specific area. 2. That rumor must be kept within that area and kept isolated within a community. 3. There must be a clear witness or origin of the rumor. And 4. The area must have been somewhere Zepia had chosen while he was calculating the path for Tatari. Because of Zepia's actions, his granddaughter Shion was outcasted by her peers at Atlas, with only more resentment and fear growing towards her as her genius causes her to rise higher within the Institute. A manifestation of Tatari took place 3 years before the events of Melty Blood, happening in a small village in Italy. The church then called upon alchemists to deal with this anomaly. Even with Shion answering that call, they were not able to stop the curse that had plagued the village. As a result, the church members on that mission lost their lives, one sacrificing her own life to save Shion. Despite giving it her all to get out of this predicament, she, unfortunately, was bitten by Wallachia. However, It saw Shion as a potential successor to this phenomenon, and thus let her be, bringing her to Misaki Town 3 years later, a town enveloped in Wallachhia's curse. After Shion meets Shiki at night, they engage in a duel. Shion hopes that becoming the victor, she can seize control of him with her ether light, a versatile mystic code by the Eltnam family that is mainly used to read minds and thoughts of the people she attaches it to. With Shiki coming out victorious, he teams up with her to shine light upon this town's rumor, while Shion hopes to meet up with Arkwade and cure her vampirism. While roaming the night, they run into Ciel, an executioner from the church, demanding for Shion to give up as she is wanted by Atlas. But after an ensuing duel and talk, Ciel leaves Shion in Shiki's care. Every consecutive night, the duo continue their hunt. As they look deeper for the true ancestor, Tatari manifests behavior and existences of the people from Shiki's fears, an Arkwade who has succumbed to her vampiric nature, a revitalized narrow chaos, and in the manga adaptation, the deceased Yumizuka Satsuki. Then the night came when Shiki and Shion finally came into contact with the origin of this anomaly. With 2 threats in front of him, Wallachia forces Shion to be overwhelmed by her vampiric impulses, turning to fight Shiki. Subduing the impulse of Shion, Wallachia summons another evil Arkwade. And after being held off, the true Arkwade came in to destroy Tatari using her marble phantasm, allowing for Shiki to cut his line of death, ending Tatari's plot. Originally having 16 playable characters, each one had unique playstyles and movement to stand out and be a viable pick for combat. As expected at this point in time, Melty Blood was at its most basic. The movement was slightly sluggish, as well as there were many problems with the balancing due to hitboxes and combo strings. But its easy to learn controls and difficult to master combos made it stand out. Each character is given a specific moveset with normal attacks, skill moves, a magic circuit meter, blocking, and guarding. Skill moves are performed by moving the analog stick in a specific pattern, then pressing an attack button. Pressing the heavy attack as a button will take up 100% charge of the magic circuit meter and perform a hard-hitting blow to the opponent. There are also special moves called arc drives. Once the magic circuit reaches 100% or higher, you draw a semicircle with the analog starting from behind your character to the front, then press the heavy attack for a trenchant and satisfying killing blow. These moves are universal for each character, making it easy to pick up and play anyone at random. May 2004 held the release for Melty Blood React, an expansion for Melty Blood with a plethora of additions. With 2 new playable characters, the familiar Len and Shiki's classmate Yumizuka Satsuki, 4 non-playable boss characters, Powered Ciel, Aoko Awazaki, a mentor to Tono Shiki, Len's alter ego, White Len, and a mascot Arkwade, Nekoark. These characters can all be found within the arcade mode, which now has a story within it. It serves to characterize and give context to what happens after Tatari's hold on Misaki Town. The story structure is incoherent to say the least, as there are multiple instances of similar events happening between each character. Certain characters investigate the mysterious happenings, while others are summoned to ensue chaos. The root of this disturbance was caused by Mage Aoko Awazaki, creating White Len from the remnants of Tatari. The familiar then casts a reality marble to feed off of others' nightmares, until she is defeated. Along with the story additions is, most importantly, an improved fighting system, adding in more animations, combo and moveset changes, and the soon-to-be staple heat mechanic. Then in March 2005 came an arcade port of Melty Blood React, given the name Melty Blood Act Cadenza version A, introducing new playable characters with the aforementioned Aoko Awazaki and Nekoark, and Kishima Koma, someone linked to Tono Shiki's past. While the story was removed, the arcade mode was kept, following similar story beats to React, with the recent characters getting new stories altogether. Within the port was also new mechanics such as the round timer, shielding changes, an evasion maneuver, and adjustments to hitboxes and animation frames. Then in July of that year came the final edition for the PC, with Melty Blood React Final Tuned, having the gameplay resemble Act Cadenza with a few tweaks and quality of life changes. August 10th, 2006 marked the date for the PS2 port of Melty Blood React Cadenza called the version A2. This port included a hidden playable character, Neko Arc Chaos. There were also many small changes and updates to the game, but nothing too major. That version of the game was then ported back to arcades, given the moniker version B, making Whiteland an option to players, as well as adding a new button to make certain actions easier to perform. Then on July 27, 2007, version B was ported to PC, being updated to version B2 with many new features. 2 new game modes, tag team and 4-player battle, a programmable training dummy, changes to input registering, altered blocking stats, and a hidden boss. While acting more as a filler game, paved the way for Melty Blood Actress Again in 2008 for arcades. The third and most recent game in the series, adding an abundance of content to both the story and gameplay. The plot is a sequel to Melty Blood's original story and React's arcade mode. Following Tatari's demise 1 year later, an unwanted encore draped Misaki once again. However, those involved in last year's incident can't seem to recall what happened, as if this is the first time they have experienced this phenomenon, though it seems like Shion is the only one who has retained her memory. She and others investigate this supernatural disturbance, while others wreak havoc upon them. Fighting through a multitude of fakes, makes her way to the edge of the reality marble, confronting who is known as Dust of Osiris, a version of Shion whose information has been copied and stored within Tatari. Through Zeppia's defeat, she was able to climb her way to the top, becoming the successor of the 13th Dead Apostle ancestor. This Shion, instead of chasing Tatari, remained at Atlas, but after years of studying, came to the same realization as Zeppia. With no other choice, she plans to enact the future humanity is destined towards, but leave a record of their existence by trapping them in Philosopher's Stones. However, just in time, this plan is foiled, once again closing the curtain upon their nightmare. It is very similar to React's arcade mode, where there's an overarching plot hiding behind some character scenarios, while others are simply filler or disconnected from it. With the basics intact, Actress Again added moon styles, a set of 3 different approaches that can drastically change a character's moveset and abilities given to them, adding a refreshing breeze to the formula. The Crescent Moon style is closest to the previous games, allowing for a free-form experience when dealing combos. The Full Moon style not only repalettes the character's moveset, but modifies it to be more heavy-hitting, but is more difficult to chain combos. The Half Moon style permutes the moves from the other 2 styles, leaning more on the simplistic side. It has the most combo capability with many mechanics being handled for you, of course with some drawbacks. To test out this innovative combat system is the series' biggest roster yet, with only 2 new characters for the original release, being Rise by Stridberg, the holy knight of the church who sacrificed herself for Shion, and Michael Roa Valdumjong, the main antagonist of Tsukihime. Then came the PS2 port on August 20th, 2009, with Neko Arc and Neko Arc Chaos making a comeback, Ryogi Shiki, the protagonist of the light novel and anime series Kara no Kyoukai, introduced as a guest character, a third version of Tono Akiha, this time wearing her school uniform, and Meki Sui tag teaming with either Neko Arc or Kohaku. This form of the game also included a boss rush mode. The PS2 version was later ported back to arcades in 2009 and 2010 with minimal changes. May 18, 2011, an updated version, 1.05, was given to the game, giving a playable form to the character known as Powered Ciel, before only appearing as a boss in React's arcade mode. 5 months later, October 14, 2011, was the release of version 1.07, refurbishing a few characters, as well as added stories in the arcade mode to characters that didn't have them previously. It also brought back a character that was recently removed from the roster, Archetype Earth, aka Arcwade harnessing her full potential. December 31st, 2011, Melty Blood Actress Again current code version 1.07 released for the PC, introducing a poorly crafted online multiplayer and removing the survival and boss rush game modes, marking the beginning of Melty Blood's near decade-long hibernation. And that leaves us waiting for the release of Melty Blood Type Lumina 9 years later. With the release coming on the 30th of September 2021, will be a whole new experience from the previous entries. From its announcement in March of 2021, there have been various gameplay videos displaying matches and introducing characters to let the fanbase know what to expect. There are going to be 12 characters at launch with unconfirmed DLC or sequels. As for the battle system, its mechanics are going to be something completely new to the series. From the official website and numerous gameplay videos, it sticks to its basics while introducing rejuvenating mechanics surrounding it. If you would like to read them for yourselves, there will be a link to the official Melty Blood website in the description. While the story present within the game will be similar to a reboot, being a what-if prequel to the Tsukihime remake, it is at least nice to reflect on the history and evolution of this beloved series, and what path it will take in the future. Hopefully I was able to provide important information to help newcomers understand the series better and refresh the memories of longtime fans. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Later.